Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Meet the Pros here on Echo Means Business. Today, we're talking to a relatively new contributor to the Echo Means Business community, Scott Morse. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Sam. It's glad to be here.
So, I could do the introduction, but I think it's probably easiest for you to do it, and I'm kind of lazy. So, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about your business, where you're located, the kind of work that you do, that sort of thing.
My name's Scott. I operate Arch City Sealcoating in St. Louis, Missouri, and we are an asphalt maintenance service provider.
Cool. You've got a radio voice. You've got one of these like low, calm voices in comparison to my high shriek. It's very soothing. That's cool.
That's just keeping the chaos under control, and I've spent a number of years on the wrong side of a microphone, so I know a great microphone makes a bad voice sound good.
Yeah. So are you saying that there's a lot of chaos in the asphalt industry?
There's just always a lot of chaos in life. You just have to be able to go with it. You can't let it overwhelm you. Just keep pushing forward.
Dude, you're way too zen. It's actually making me nervous and making my anxiety grow just because of how calm you are. All right, so why don't we talk a little bit about the asphalt industry? I think this is something new for us. Echo Means Business as a community of pros working with other pros, mentoring each other, helping each other grow their business, has traditionally been lawn care, arbor, and landscapers getting together. This is the first year that we've seen a number of people in the asphalt industry join the community and share their 2 cents. And there seems to be, quite a camaraderie amongst the group. Why don't you tell us your reasons for joining the community?
Well, actually, there's a great deal of overlap, especially in the residential side and the commercial side too. A lot of us service the same customers, and I feel there's a great opportunity on both sides for everyone. There's just a huge amount of work that can be had out there, and it's just really amazing the amount of opportunity out there. And I've joined in at the invite of Marvin Joels.
Marvin is one of our UAG members this year.
Yes, and he's been a huge force in the asphalt industry, which is really undergoing a lot of changes. There's a lot of technology being brought on board, a lot of innovation, and it's just a really exciting time. And it seemed like a great opportunity to see what was going on in another industry, and both of us feel that we can bring to the, I guess you guys call it the green industry, an opportunity for members to grow their businesses and maybe start taking on some of this kind of work too if they're interested. Because like I said, a lot of the
like that idea. Why don't we talk about what is it that you do? So let's talk about what services you offer now in your business.
We do asphalt seal coating, crack filling, pothole patching, line striping, and pretty much everything short of actual paving is what my business is focused on.
Okay. And is that relatively common for people in the asphalt industry?
Yeah, they generally tend to either grow in one direction or the other. A lot of them get started out in sealing because the entry point is very accessible. You can get out there with a very minimal investment, and if you're willing to do the sweat equity side of it, you can start with next to nothing and build an empire. But at some point, a lot of people tend to gravitate either to staying in the maintenance side or they get into the paving side.
Interesting. So you said that you can get in relatively easy. I know that one of the reasons why there are so many lawn care professionals that start in April, and is that there is a low cost or low barrier to entry in that
Yeah.
industry. You know what I mean? If you have a mower, essentially, you can get going.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing in the asphalt industry? It seems to me that there would be it's much more equipment intensive.
Um, it's the same kind of concept. If you're willing to trade efficiency and basically just manual labor, which yeah, you can get out there with a lawnmower and a string trimmer and walk up and down every street in your neighborhood, and you can start from there. You can pretty much do the same thing with asphalt maintenance. You can start with a brush and a 5-gallon bucket of sealer, and you can build from there. Everything that you add to that either adds another stream of revenue, another service that you can provide, or it makes you more efficient and allows you to do more work in the same amount of time.
Now you end up using. I know when one of the conversations I had with Marvin when we did the Meet the Pro interview with him was that one of his reasons for getting into this industry, or at least on the EMB side, the Echo Means Business community, and getting to know people here, and is that not only can he provide advice and a different perspective, but he was learning a lot because he uses a lot of the same tools.
Yeah.
There's always a couple of string trimmers on his truck because of the cleanups that he has to do along the edges. And in fact, because of the hot asphalt, a lot of times you're burning through those things a lot quicker than a lawn care pro has. Are you finding that? Are you finding that, in terms of like, what would be the traditional green industry tools that would normally be on your truck?
String trimmers, blowers, handheld backpack, push. In some cases, depending on how bad the property is, we'll break out a chainsaw, power brooms, pretty much everything that the green industry people use.
Have you ever used that paddle brush PAS attachment?
No, I have not. That's really high up on my shopping list this year.
Yeah, I think that I'm thinking I love using it personally just to clean up like gravel and stuff off the end of the driveway. I would imagine that in your industry that attachment would be phenomenal for the PAS system.
Absolutely.
So how much overlap would there be, or how easy would it be? It was really the question that I wanted to ask for somebody in the green industry to start picking up something. I mean, this is really about getting to know you, and we're turning this into a business conversation. But I think
that's all right. This is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things. Is I really enjoy the mentoring side of this business. I mean, yeah, I'm ecstatic that I can operate a successful self-sustaining business that's got steady growth, and I can provide jobs to people in my community and all down the road. But I really enjoy the mentoring side of things. Every spring, like you said, there's that avalanche of new people getting into the industry, and I have a lot of fun and really enjoy helping to bring these people up and get them, building, some stability and security and financial freedom in their own lives.
So let's look at that. I mean, Echo Means Business, and what we try and do here through these interviews, the content we develop, the peer-to-peer engagement that's on the site, and the mobile app for that matter, is about pros helping other pros grow their business, whether it's advice on how to do things better or how to market their business better. So what advice would you give somebody who's looking to expand their revenue, expanding their services into this space? So if you're a lawn care professional and you're looking at potentially getting into the asphalt industry in some way, I know a lot of the guys are doing window washing and home repair, that kind of stuff, installs, patio, laying patio stones. So they're already expanding irrigation, but why not, bring on some of these services? What might be one or two of the services that they could easily tack on once they're on a property and managing someone's property?
Actually, all of them. They really do all go very much hand in hand, and adding one isn't any harder than adding, pretty much all of them, again, short of paving. The jump to paving is significant. But just staying on the maintenance side.
So like filling cracks, for example, in a driveway.
Doing crack fills, doing pothole repairs and seal coating. The green industry crews have a huge advantage over somebody just getting into it from nothing, because they've already got, and I don't know if a lot of them have considered this, but you've already got a huge advantage in that you've probably already got at least one truck, if not maybe two or three. You've probably got a spare trailer. You've got, all of your handheld power equipment, string trimmers and blowers, and all of this stuff. So really, to get into any of this, you're just short those couple of specialty items and bits of equipment, like a tank and a crack filling machine. And those are all relatively, in the scheme of things compared to a truck or a trailer, not terribly expensive.
That's interesting. I like the idea of giving this advice out and sharing this advice for those that are interested. A lot of guys just listen, I got enough on my plate. I can't take on any more clients, let alone any more services. But it seems to me that you might actually be more profitable if you were to increase the services that you offer fewer clients
Yes.
and
Oh,
just
absolutely.
get out to fewer properties.
Yes. Oh, yes. I would rather maximize my time and profit and value to a customer on one property a day than driving all over the place and trying to take care of 10.
Hmm.
You've lost time and money, jumping between job to job to job. If you focus on taking care of fewer, better customers, you'll be way ahead in the long run.
And it seems that from a lead generation perspective, it would be relatively simple for somebody in the green industry to tack this on because they're already on people's properties every
Yep.
day. I can just imagine just having some cards or some leave behinds that, you're mowing the grass
Mhm.
and you see,
Hey, we
crack
notice
in
you've
the
got a
driveway.
pothole. We
Yeah,
notice that your driveway is starting to look a little worn. We can, here's an estimate, and they can already do it. Here's an estimate for seal coating your driveway and fixing that pothole.
that's right.
And they've
Yeah,
already got
back
that
when the to do
established.
that.
Yeah, they've already got that established relationship with that customer. Why not maximize it in every way you can? You're basically already pulling onto their driveway anyway.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And,
Mhm.
again, that's another thing we always try and look for in terms of giving advice. And that is to, how do you maximize your time on site?
Yes.
That's definitely one of them. So if it's not overly cost prohibitive to get going, at least try like one or two of these services that
Mhm.
you want to add on one at a time.
Sure.
Is it technically prohibitive? Is there a lot of like training that is required to do this type of work, or is it just kind of a natural thing that comes to you guys?
It's mostly a natural thing. There are some technical aspects to it, but there's tons of YouTube videos out there, and there are plenty of people like me in the industry that are more than happy to mentor uh, wherever we can.
How long
There
have
is
you been-
also a national convention that happens once a year, and at that convention for the asphalt industry, they do offer several training courses, most of which are really valuable, and I do recommend it.
Why don't we give them a plug? Which show
Uh,
is that? Where is it?
that would be NPE. That's the National Pavement Expo, and I believe this coming year is going to be in South Carolina. I think it was in Nashville, but they've moved venues.
Cool.
But they're easy to find.
Well, how long have you been doing this?
Off and on for 30 years. I did it in college. Me and a roommate, he had started on his own and brought me on just because I happened to be sitting there on his couch. And we did it for a few summers and made money and paid our bills and shaved off a bunch of our tuition. And he moved on to something else, and so did I. And 25 years later, I had the opportunity to get back into it, and that was 6 years ago, and we've been growing ever since.
That's awesome. So what? So it's been six since you started up again. It's been 6 years that you've been
Mhm.
running this business full time.
Yep.
Is it how? I mean, how? I'm thinking about cost of goods. Is this? Is it a good high margin business?
It can be. I've seen many people fail uh, because they don't know how to control their costs or they don't know how to bid a project. It's absolutely critical in this industry, as in any other, especially contracting business, to understand your basic costs and know how to do a cost-based analysis for the jobs that you're doing. You can't assume that because you did this job over here for X dollars that, well, that's my price. It's always going to be X dollars. You have to do the diligence and make sure that you're protecting yourself and also providing good value to the customer. You don't want to overcharge them, but you also want to make sure that you're covering your costs correctly.
Yeah, we had one of our Thursday night live broadcasts was about getting to know or knowing your price, understanding your
Mhm.
value, which is also
Critical.
our podcast as well as our one of our networking videos that's up on the site. And the guys went through in a lot of detail.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be like a 30-minute conversation. We went on for 2 hours,
Oh yeah, you can you
just
can
breaking
fall
down.
down that black hole very quickly.
Yeah,
I know guys that analyze their costs down literally to the paper clips in the office. Everything is accounted for.
take
And
a
there are
lesson from the lawyers where every second is
yes,
billed.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's smart. It's if you want to make money, I mean, that's it. You want to be as efficient as you can and make the most amount of money in the least amount with the least amount of effort.
Yes.
And that's the key to any good business, I think. So why don't we switch gears a little bit and
Okay.
talk about you and how what kind of days do you have? Is this the type of thing that you're out at 3 in the morning and home by noon, or
No, actually, my story and how I operate my business is going to be very atypical. I actually still work my regular full-time job as a mechanic.
oh wow,
Um, so basically, what I do in running my business is I do a lot of the back end stuff, plus I work uh, the bidding process and the billing process. I have a full time guy, Kelvin, who comes in every season, and he's out there every day doing the actual work. And then if it's running late in the evening or on the weekends, I jump in and help him as well.
that's interesting. So you have an employee doing the work, doing the actual
Hmm.
paving work, or fills whatever it is that you're doing,
Hmm.
but you're just managing the business.
Yes, at this point, until I can retire from my regular job, and then I can do this full time. But
So interesting.
I've been doing a very controlled, very managed growth of the company so that it doesn't spiral and get away from me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been working so far. The company mostly runs itself. I answer the phone, I help with the bids, and take care of all the silly stuff that happens in the background. And he goes out there and just knocks out the day to day work, and we meet up at the end of it.
Okay. So there's that opens up a lot more questions for me because
Hmm.
we have this conversation in these interviews. I mean, I've done thousands of these interviews with pros over the last number of years in this community. But one of the things that I know is a big problem for the green industry is employees,
Mm.
hiring and
Yep.
retaining employees.
Yes.
So, what you just said, brought two ideas to mind. Number one, I got to ask about the employees. Is it as difficult to find people that can do this kind of work and do it regularly? And how different is that from the green industry? Why don't we start there?
I would imagine it's exactly as challenging for the green industry as the asphalt industry. It's very physical labor. It's very challenging work, and not everybody wants to do it.
Hmm. So, on the other side, well, maybe before I ask the other side,
Okay.
how do you keep? You've got a guy that's been working with you for a while.
Yes.
How do you keep him? Have you just gotten lucky, or is there a trick to keeping them motivated? And do you have to pay
Uh,
really, really high, or
I consider myself just very, very lucky. He's family, essentially.
okay.
We've known him for a long time, and this just happens to work perfectly for him and what he's doing in his life. Um, but it's yeah, it's tough to find employees and use. to find labor to grow your business. And that's true for everywhere right now, not just in this stuff.
Do you chalk that up to just the work being difficult and it being such physical labor that a lot of people just don't like to do that, especially in the heat?
Yeah, it's not fun being out there. Like today, heat index was 104, with I think over 90% humidity, and
Wow.
he was out there.
Good for you. You got a good one.
Yes.
So that makes me wonder for how easy this then could potentially be for somebody in the green industry that already has a full book of business to have either a full-timer or potentially even a part-timer on contract or otherwise
Yeah.
that just could be called upon to do the work. You seem to have been making it work for 6 years with somebody else actually doing the work and you just managing the business.
Well, I built it up on my own for the first 3 years. For the first 3 years, it was essentially me. I would have a friend or somebody jump in on a bigger project. But I did a bulk of the work for the first 3 years. Kelvin's jumped in the last few years, and each year has kind of stepped up more and more as we've grown. So it's just kind of worked out. But I was definitely in the trenches there, and I still am. Yeah, every day I get off from my regular job, if he's not done, or on the weekends if we've got work scheduled, I'm out there too.
So have you developed, do you do this all on your own or what in terms of referrals and lead generation, or do you have any type of partnership with people in the green industry? Because it seems to me to be a match made in heaven,
Yes.
just like with real estate agents, right? We're always advising our members on EMB to partner with real estate agents. They're your
Definitely.
source of leads, right?
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of work from the real estate industry.
Right. So have you developed any partnerships with anybody in the green industry where you're, some kind of a preferred partnership or, handing business back and forth to each other?
No, not yet. I haven't matched up with anybody in the industry in my area. Definitely would welcome it. But in the asphalt industry itself, like I said, there's that difference between those that pave and those that don't. And same thing for pavement marking for the line striping. You either do it or you don't. And a lot of us kind of trade work back and forth for what we do and don't do. I don't do paving, but I do striping. So if I get a customer that needs a whole new driveway or a whole new parking lot, torn out and repaved, I've got partners that I'll refer that to, and they do the same when they get overloaded and they don't have time to mess around with little residential driveways when they're doing shopping malls and industrial parks.
It seems like a match made in heaven to me to have a partnership with somebody who's managing the green side
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
property. And if they don't want to do the asphalt, right, you can just go back and forth and as leads, even if I would imagine that it would probably be worthwhile for somebody like you to, or anybody in doing what you do, and vice versa, to have some kind of a kickback. To say, look, if for every lead you send me, if you notice that there's a driveway that needs repair, here's a business card or here's a quote sheet that you can drop off on my behalf. And if I get that work, there's like a small kickback that'll come back to you for the referral.
Sure.
Right.
Same thing. Customers that I'm taking care of their property, I see they need landscaping, and we can just refer the work back and forth. That's generally what we do in the asphalt business.
Yeah. So well, there you go, folks. Anybody out there near St. Anne, Missouri, where Scott is running the Arch City Sealcoating, he's ripe for opportunities for cross promotion. Go make yourself a buck with him. Scott, it's been fantastic to chat with you. I really appreciate you sharing your expertise and advice. I think there's a lot to think about. For those of you listening or watching or reading, wherever you're taking in this content that Scott has been helping us with, I'm going to encourage you to visit Echo Means Business and look up his profile. He, like every other member, has a profile now on Echo Means Business. You can follow, you can chat directly. and ask for advice. Go back and forth. He's very active in our community, so I'm sure you'll find him on our mobile app or there. And hey, while you're listening, don't forget to subscribe. You know the routine. Smash that like button. Follow us, as the influencers say. But most importantly, go and check out Scott and the rest of the contributors and UAG members on Echo Means Business. Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Not a problem. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.